part of the Urantia book is the history of Urantia, Urantia being the name of our planet. Now, keep in mind that this history is written by advanced celestial beings who were on the planet during the time of even when the mountains were rising, when the world was being covered in water, the very evolution of life itself on the planet. We're talking ancient beings who are giving an exact depiction of the history that isn't piecemealed or lost in time or anything like that. Now, does that require a bit of faith to believe? Yes, but we don't do blind faith. We make sure that it fits on every single level, that even being scientific and philosophic. Does this stuff make sense? For instance, we're looking at the planetary rebellion today, and if we can connect the remainder piece, which is faith, to say, yeah, that really does make sense, then all of the answers are right here. And it is a complete satisfactory explanation that I've never seen or have never gotten from any other source or any other combination of ideas that I've ever looked into to explain why are things the way that they are. So, the first thing here, Planetary Rebellion, this is page 754. It's saying that our planet went into a rebellion, and this precipitated worldwide chaos, which we are still experiencing today. Now, right off the rip, I would say, if this planet was a bed of roses, and we had ended our wars, and we were all on the same page as far as spirituality, and there being one God, and this and that, then I would say, well, that's stupid. Why would we even... We're not in a rebellion. There's no need to explain that. But right away, I'm saying, yeah, geez, what the hell is going on here? Can we get a little bit of insight from this? Let's see. Let's look at this. 754, please like and subscribe. The problems associated with human existence on Urantia are impossible of understanding without a knowledge of certain great epochs of the past, notably the occurrence and consequence of the planetary rebellion. You can't understand it. Trying to piece it together with, what's that field of study? Anthropology. Oh, where did we go wrong? Why are humans the way? Maybe it's just innate that we're going to make war. Maybe there's never going to be peace on Earth because we're just this warring animal type. You can't understand it, folks, without understanding the Planetary Rebellion. And the only way that you're going to understand the Planetary Rebellion is by reading it in the Urantia book, the Revelation. Although this upheaval did not seriously interfere with the progress of organic evolution, being the animal evolutionary, it did markedly modify the course of social evolution, that's your anthropology, and of spiritual development, keynote. The entire superphysical history of the planet was profoundly influenced by this devastating calamity. The Caligastia betrayal. If you are unfamiliar, we learned about Caligastia in one of our previous videos, and he was to be the planetary prince that was supposed to help us, an early spiritual being that was to organize the planet, usher us slowly and gradually towards the era of light and life. That's how things normally function. For 300,000 years, Caligastia had been in charge of Urantia, when Satan, Lucifer's assistant, made one of his periodic inspection calls. So if you hear those names, you're like, oh, Bible, I'm throwing this book away. You have to make a break as far as what you actually do know and what you don't know. Is it impossible that there's a being named Satan and that there's a being named Lucifer? You can't say that, yes, I know that's impossible just because I've already rejected the Bible. See how that's what an open mind is. Don't conclude that these things are impossible. Made one of his periodic inspection calls, and when Satan arrived on the planet, his appearance in no way resembled your caricatures of his nefarious majesty. He was, and still is, a Lenanendeck son of great brilliance. Still is. This is 1950s when this book came out. 1930s and 50s. So there still is a being named Satan who is brilliant. He's not a red, twisted goat fellow. And no marvel, for Satan himself is a brilliant creature of light, making it even therefore harder to deny when this being is ushering in an age of chaos. It's a lot harder to deny when somebody's a brilliant being of light. That means their mind is there, their physical form is there. In the course of this inspection, Satan informed Caligastia of Lucifer's then proposed declaration of liberty. See, that's the guise. It's false liberty, though, because remember, we learned you can have no liberty apart from liberty with God. And when you have liberty with God, that opens up every door that's true, beautiful, and good. Liberty apart from God is a construct that will embrace evil at your own personal gain, self-aggrandizement, self-serving attitude. And as we know, the prince agreed to betray the planet upon the announcement of the rebellion. So as soon as they said, hey, we're going to do this rebellion thing, Caligastia was all aboard. He had already been sowing the seeds in his own mind. That's what happens with these beings. They have this self-aggrandizement attitude, and they say, we can do it better than God. The loyal universe personalities look with peculiar disdain upon Prince Caligastia because of this premeditated betrayal of trust. The Creator's Son voiced this contempt when he said, you are like your leader, Lucifer, and have sinfully perpetuated his iniquity. He was a falsifier from the beginning of his self-exaltation. Remember, there's that word selfish, self-serving, because he abode not in the truth. So that's what our Creator's Son, who materialized on the planet as Jesus of Nazareth, that's what his words were when he realized that this planet was going down. In all the administrative work of a local universe, no high trust is deemed more sacred than that reposed in a planetary prince who assumes responsibility for the welfare and guidance of the evolving mortals on a newly inhabited world. And of all forms of evil, none are more destructive of personality status than betrayal of trust and disloyalty to one's confiding friends. Imagine that. You have all of this. It's like taking care of a group of little animals, and you're going to do a torture regime on them. You think you got it in your care, a bunch of kittens. They're so helpless in the cosmic sense. In committing this but they still, remember, nothing is lost or wasted on a spiritual level of spiritual value. So even though we read all this, and even though this is happening on our planet right now to this day, that doesn't mean that you can't personally step above and rise above this. No being caught up in this was deprived of any sort of spiritual choice, any sort of free will choice, or anything like that. Remember, there's an over-control of the planet, not a micromanaging control. In committing this deliberate sin, Caligastia so completely distorted his personality that his mind has never since been able to fully regain its equilibrium. Very scary stuff there. Well, not scary for us, though, folks. There are many ways of looking at sin, but from the universe philosophic viewpoint, sin is the attitude of personality who is knowingly resisting cosmic reality. Error might be regarded as misconception or distortion of reality. Evil is partial realization of or maladjustment to universe realities. Do you see this distinction here? Error is you're just, you don't know. It's a little bit of ignorance sprinkled in there. Sin is you're deliberately undermining. You know that you're going to have to pull the wool over somebody's eyes in order to get, let's say you are going to do lobbying for your weapons manufacturing, but you have to control the media to get all of the people on board of the new war. So you are saying, let's give the media these lines, and you'll justify it in whatever way that you can to make yourself feel comfortable about it. They'll say, well, geez, we really do need to do this war, whatever way that they're personally going to justify it, so they don't feel like it's a sin, even though they're going about it to do manipulation to get the population on board with a new war. But that is sin. If you still have an attitude of saying, I'm going to justify it in some way, and feeling like you need to justify it, you are still only at the level of sin. But look at, where does this say? Iniquity. Okay. But sin is a purposeful resistance, okay? A conscious choosing to oppose spiritual progress. See, now here, if you don't feel like you need to justify it in any way other than I'm right and I'm brilliant, I'm the most best, so this is the way that I'm doing it, now your sin has reached a level of iniquity. While iniquity consists in an open and persistent defiance of recognized reality and signifies such a degree of personality disintegration as to border on cosmic insanity. So you're super far off at that point. You don't need to try to say, well, I'm doing it so that I can get, if I get $1 million, then I can send my son to the best Ivy League school. You have some sort of rationalization for your sin there. You haven't reached a level of iniquity. But if you're just like, dude, I am God. I should be able to play with these pawns in any way that I want because I am personally God, or some sort of divorcement from reality, that's when these beings have reached the level of iniquity. And at that point, there's no hope. There's no hope of them rehabilitating their soul. They tried, they gave them all the mercy that they possibly can. And at that point, and human beings, mortals they call us, we can reach that level as well. We can destroy all spiritual birthright that we have, and we can cease to exist as entities in the universe. But that's really, really deep and far into it. Now look at error. This is the level that most of us are at, myself included. In fact, for me, it might, when I do something that is negative, like I don't do it to other people, but I do it to myself, make a poor dietary choice or something like that, because I'm so aware, that could even be considered a sin. Because I am aware of what I'm choosing, right? It's not ignorance for me anymore at this point. I'm well aware of what type of dietary choices that I should be making. And in fact, that could be my rationalization that says I'm not affecting the collective. Who knows how much more help or service I could be if I had myself at that next level. People would be a lot more inclined to believe in, my teachings of the Urantia book, if I said it with more conviction. Who knows? I don't know what would happen. So that could be my own. I just did it. I just rationalized that I'm not, quote unquote, harming anybody else by my dietary choices. But I could be. See how easy those rationales come to us? But error is when you're more ignorant. Okay? Now remember this one-liner. Ignorance isn't bliss. It is oblivion. People say, well, geez, can I just be ignorant? Turn off the YouTube video, but that's teaching me about this stuff because I want to just stay in my little bubble of bliss. Because ignorance is bliss. No, you're just oblivious. Okay? And if error will eventually lead to sin, it will eventually lead to iniquity if you still completely, fully embrace this and pretend like you're ignorant. Okay? Error suggests lack of intellectual keenness, and that's the level that many are at here in this world. It's not good. It's still error. Error is even beyond evil, folks. Evil is deficiency of wisdom, sin, abject spiritual poverty, but iniquity is indicative of vanishing personality control, completely losing your mind and spirit and soul. When sin has so many times been chosen and so often been repeated, it may become habitual. Habitual sinners can easily become iniquitous. That's the slippery slope there, everybody. Become wholehearted rebels against the universe and all of its divine realities. While all manner of sins may be forgiven, see that mercy? So this isn't, oh, you're a terrible person, you're doomed to be a sinner, like how Christianity teaches all, it's, throw that away. It's just inevitable. You're an animal origin creature. The gods, the divine beings know that we're going to be in this vacillation state and choosing the wrong thing. Here we go. We doubt whether the established iniquitor would ever sincerely experience sorrow for his misdeeds or accept forgiveness for his sins. It's offered. You see the whole progression, and you're still saying, no, it's because you're not there anymore. It's cosmic insanity. And, but remember the good news and all that. We just dwelled on the negative because it's important to know that. It's important to understand, but dwell on the positive. And the positive reality is that when you align with the divine and you want to be a son and daughter of God in this cosmic family, and that really is truly your intent, I'm not in danger of becoming iniquitous. Okay? It says that habitual sinners easily become iniquitous. This is beings that haven't merged with God, that haven't decided, well, I wouldn't say merged because I haven't merged, but I have decided that that is my path in the universe, that I will eventually merge at my own pace, in my own choosing, and how that just works out for me. Okay, I haven't merged yet, but with the adjuster, and we talked about that in a previous video. But I have decided that nothing is going to take me off of that path. It's too real. It's too cemented in my mind about the realities of God. And there's nothing that you could wave in front of my face. I've had experiences which prove to me beyond a shadow of doubt that deity and divinity are real. It started off as a faith walk. But I have gone so deep into that faith walk that it's proved to me for now until the end of time. So I'm in no danger. This is what happens when you wear the armor of the divine. You're not easily going to become iniquitous, even if you are committing a sin. So it's important, though, don't look at this and say, oh, yeah, geez, I don't like the word sin. People, I know, I hear that all the time, and it's kind of more of a New Age type of thing, or Buddhist, and that, geez, you know, non-duality. We don't like sin and evil and that sort of talk. But it's, again, you're divorcing yourself from the reality of the universe, or what you would call the relative reality of time and space. That these things occur here, and they are not doing anything for anybody except making more pain, more misery, more sorrow. So it's not just trying to stay in this bubble of ignorance and saying, I'm rejecting the term sin. There's no such thing as evil. Remember, evil is relatively real. And that's the relative reality that we have to understand. But don't forget about the saving reality, the saving mercy, the ultimate reality, the absolute reality that we are indwelt by God, deity and divinity, and that as soon as we choose to follow that path, to walk on that bed of roses, everything else changes around us. Remember, as you master yourself, you master the world around you, and as you change yourself, you change the world around you. So there it is, folks, the Caligastia betrayal, the planetary rebellion. When you understand that that happened that many years ago, and there's these superhuman beings of divine origin that went into darkness, when you understand that they are at the helm of this whole entire world system and world scheme, it makes it much more easy to understand, and it goes in how these things filtered out throughout time. They started with that one small remark, and then throughout time that just filtered and filtered out into all different aspects of the world, into industry, into trade, into the medical field, and now there's just this greed. We live in a failed system, and who knows, at any time it could just all unwind. As soon as it becomes more than 50% evil, it will unwind, because inherent in every evil is the seed of its own destruction, and that is the failsafe. And people are going to be running around like chickens with their head cut off when they start to have the god of their world, money. In one instant, that dollar could collapse, and people are going to be up in crazy arms, like, what the hell is going on? But not us, because remember, as we said, as Master Jesus taught, what should it matter to you if the whole world collapses around you? For you have eternal life, and will be sailing and soaring through this thing. So, there you go, folks. That's it for today's video, and we'll see you in the next time, and take care.